works. It works. It works. Uh, it's in the group. How y'all doing today? Welcome to Social Work Sunday Tea with Shakia. We have a special guest today. I will be introducing her as soon as she get on the live, and she's on the live now. Okay, cool, Eric. Okay, cool. Let me see if I can do that. Yeah. So we're gonna let's see. Eric, before I bring you on, hey. So before I bring you on, I'm gonna let more and more people on. Just to get started, it's 4:07. I'm a little bit late, uh, just 7 minutes behind, but we're gonna get the ball rolling. And I'm so glad for you to come and be a part of Social Work Sunday Tea with me, Shakia. Our special guest will be joining us in a little bit. I'm waiting on more people to come on. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on this live. It's greatly appreciated, tremendously. Happy to be alive and well. Glad to see you guys as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to get Erica on. Thank you, everybody, for joining in live, joining on here on the live. Hey, yeah, so let me get Erica to get on. I'm waiting on more and more people, but I'm going to add Erica, and we're going to start. It's adding. Let me see if she's connecting. Hi, Erica.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, 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 good. So can you hear me clearly? Everything is
Yeah.
good? Okay. Okay, cool. Cool, 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 cool. So we're going to get started. You can introduce yourself. And this is Social Work Sunday Tea. And we can get started.
Well, my name is Erica Tate. Me and Shakia actually went to high school together. We graduated from the same university with our master's in psychology, which is the University of Phoenix. I am currently the operational manager and a senior counselor at Above and Beyond Family Recovery Center, which is, of course, a recovery center located on the west side of Chicago, Lake and Sacramento. The direct address is 2942 West Lake Street, Chicago, Illinois. We are a free clinic. You don't have insurance, we take you. The vast majority of our patients are homeless. We do walk-ins, got parolees, we do everything there. We concentrate a lot on like REBT therapies, logotherapy. We do a lot of transgenerational trauma, women's trauma group, regular trauma groups. We do a lot there to help. And of course, the counseling sessions that we have. So I'm just here to support and see what I can do. My friend asked me to come on. It was like no hesitation at all.
Thank you so
So,
much. I really appreciate it.
oh, welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna ask, like, what is a day-to-day routine that you do when you first get in, like, the building? Like, what do you do?
Well, right now, COVID, I get to work pretty early, so I'm at work between 6 and 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
Of course, we have to wear a mask now. Temperature checks, we get our pulse checked. In the mornings, the first thing I really do, I really have to meditate and pray.
Okay.
Being a psychologist, therapist, is hard. And a lot of people don't realize how taxing on the body and the mind, the soul it's it's hard. That's all
Yeah.
I can can't even explain it. It's just hard. So first thing I do, I pray.
Okay.
I pray every morning. I have to pray because you don't know what you're gonna face that day. And now I've been taken back a lot from my therapy because I run a facility. So I concentrate more so on running the facility. But I fandangled my way back into my groups, which I was so happy. So when I come in the mornings, I sit down and I try to do a lot of my office work.
Okay.
So I make sure time cards are up to date, no issues with payroll, check emails to make sure any therapist called off, supplies, and we got enough food because we give all our clients free food.
Okay.
So they get free breakfast and free lunch. We know a lot of them can't afford it. They're home, and so at least we can give them 2 meals a day. So I make sure we have enough food to feed the people for that day. Meetings on we're looking at new facilities we actually want to build something on the south side of Chicago to bring it out this way. And just make sure our budget's all right. They sent me back to school for business administration and financial planning. So I
Wow.
just finished that.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I just finished that. So it's like, I go through the books to make sure we're on budget, go over the budgets, monthly budgets, the day, the weekly. Um, Sometimes I can, pull down together, talk to other therapists. Sometimes we have meetings in the mornings, see what groups we're gonna have and what we want to do in a group to make sure they're on the right path. All groups start at 9 o'clock. Most of our clients come in between 7 and 8. So by the time 9 o'clock, we're fully packed. They have eaten. We're running through the hallways yelling group time to make sure everybody gets in group. It's a little difficult now since social distancing, so we have to make sure that we don't overpopulate the building. We have certain clients here. We're using more space to make sure that, no one gets sick. We're constantly wiping down things, constantly spraying. And basically from 9 o'clock to 10:15, we have our first set of groups. Every day we have different groups. We have a total, I want to say, 50 plus groups
Okay.
that we offer there. So basically between 9 and 1 o'clock at the end of group, it's the madhouse. You really don't know what's going to happen.
Tell me
You
about it.
know, sometimes, we deal with people sneaking drugs in. We deal with overdose. We have people coming into groups that's high. That can be a trigger for other people that's recovering. So we got to, make sure we calmly lead them out of group, have someone watch them with Narcan just in case they do slip into that OD. We have to check the bathrooms. And so after 1 o'clock, we're all seeking counsel from each other.
Absolutely.
So after 1 o'clock, we're all seeking counsel with each other, and that's how we digress. We sit, and the facility is gorgeous. If anyone want to come in, we do give tours. It's a beautiful place to be. We sit in front of the fish tank. We can go into different rooms and meditate, things like that, to make sure we're okay. We do have our on-site therapist who teaches our clients, and he's my therapist. To me, every therapist needs a therapist, and I really didn't understand how important that was until I really got into the field. And I'm like, I need to talk, because dealing 30 plus patients, I had 30 plus patients on Friday.
Wow.
It was a lot. So sometimes I have to go into my car and, have to center myself.
I know.
Go into my car myself, because it's hard, dealing with drug abuse, and most of them, they have mental disorders. It's co-occurring disease. So it's like, okay, this person is battling, drug abuse disorder, and then they may have bipolar, they may be schizophrenic, multiple personality disorder, dissociative personality disorder.
And you're dealing with all those type of behaviors. It makes you have a behavior too. And people don't understand that in mental health counseling and recovery, things like that. We have to give a woosah moment as well. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask you. But you kind of answered, like, what do you do, as far as
coping with, the different things that you like. Just say, for instance, you have a patient where, they're dealing with schizophrenia and drugs, and they're having behaviors in the midst of sessions. How do you deal with that, like mentally?
The first step is to what I try to, if I know that if I'm meeting with someone that has a personality disorder, more than likely throughout the sessions or prior to, the other personality shows. So you kind of know who you're talking to. And sometimes
The people, let the people know that that's who we deal with. Like, we have to figure out who
a lot of people like, oh my God, I didn't know that was real. Yes, it's real. You can talk to someone and they just flip
Yeah,
just like this. You can't be surprised. We're taught, you can read it in a book and all the psychology books we read, but when it happens, you're like, oh, the blood of Jesus.
yes.
Like,
See, everybody don't know this. What we have to endure as far as like mentally, like prepare. Well, what am I supposed to do? We can have all the book smarts we want to, and until we experience that, then that's when it's like, okay,
yeah.
well,
The first time it happened, I ran and called my mama. I'm like, Mama, like, I don't know what to do, and she was like, just pray. That's all you can do. So I prayed with my mom on the phone, and it's like I have my counselor that I can talk to, and it's like once I'm done with that, it it's really hard to not get attached
right,
to the patient.
right,
That's the hardest part, because you have to remain focused. And this has been at least 2 clients so far that I just couldn't help,
hmm
because I felt myself becoming more attached to what I should have been as their counselor.
right,
And when you personally get involved, you're really not giving the patient the best clinical advice. So you have to remain clinical at all times. So it's been several times to where I'm like, okay, well, we have a share model. Can
yeah,
you help me with this patient? Because I feel myself getting too attached. And that it's not good for this person's recovery if I'm getting attached. And it's not good for me either. So, it's that's the hardest. That's the hardest part, because you want to help them, but you can only clinically help them. You can't go,
absolutely,
you can't surpass that clinical boundary, which is very, very thin. You can't go past that line, and it's hard. So when you dealing with them, you have to make sure that you have yourself in order. So I leave everything in my office,
yeah,
regardless of how hard I am, how much I want to cry after a client leaves my office, how much I want to scream and get angry when the client leaves my office. I leave everything there, because I refuse to bring that home to my family.
absolutely,
And that's also hard, because you're having some days it's not always good.
absolutely.
So yeah, you have to know when to stop it. And I leave everything at the door. And
Yeah,
that's I come home and I start my second job is, being a mom, being a partner to someone, being the best friend to
yeah,
someone. It's hard, because now they need me.
absolutely. And
So
sometimes it's hard to shut that off.
it is.
It's hard to shut it off because it's like, okay, I got this in my mind because of what happened or the session that we just had, and you bring that home and you showing like, oh my God, am I angry, or if am I still upset about the session, or um just a lot of things that mentally for us we go through. We try to like figure it out, like, I don't want to bring that home to me, but sometimes it happens. And so
It
So what do you do as far as to balance that from happening again?
What, like I said, pray. That's that's
Yes.
that's all I can really do is pray. And on the days to where I had a really bad day, I can call my significant other on the phone and I will talk to him on my way home. And somehow, some way, he calms me down. It's gonna be okay. He can crack a joke or or anything to pull me out of that because he knows that it's hard. He comes up there sometimes, and it's like he sees the environment, he sees what I go through, and just to have him know what I endured throughout the day and to calm me down and keep me calm, that means a lot. And then when I get home to my kids, it's like, okay, they need me on another level. So I have to shut that down. I have to become a mom, because I'm like, I'm not going to shortchange my babies
Right.
over something that I have done throughout the day. And that's how I pull it together. And I think too the thing is he's a jokester and he
Okay.
cracks jokes all the time. And like even when I'm so furious, it's like even when I'm mad, he makes me laugh. And it just that 'cause I live nowhere near the west side of Chicago,
Okay.
so it's a long commute. It's like almost an hour commute
Okay.
for me to get home. And just knowing that he's working and he has other things that he's doing and he takes that time out to call me, even if he has to call me back because he's doing something else or he has to take care of someone. He calls me back to make sure, okay, you made it home. I talk to you tonight, or I see you when I get home, this, that, and other. So it works out. It's that balance for me. And when I did not have that in my life, it's like I felt as though like I would literally drive home crying if I had a bad day. They,
I get it. I get it. I get it. It be some days like I'm not going back. No. Yeah, we gotta tell people. We have to tell them like this is what we dealing with. Some of their family members, they cousins, their aunts, and things like that. We don't want to go back, but it's like something compels us to go back because they know
it's
we.
a passion. It's our calling.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time, like being any type of therapist, social work, psychologist is not for the weak.
No.
It's not. And you just can't go to school because you think that's something that you want to do. Like you have to be put on this earth. God has to give you the purpose to do this. Because if you don't have that, it will break you completely down. You will turn into the patient.
Yeah.
Sitting there with personality disorder because you don't help you cope with the things that's going on. So it's like now you another different person dealing with this thing is not for the weak. It's not for someone who's selfish. You cannot be selfish in this line of life because you give
Yeah.
so much to yourself, so much of yourself to other people. You just the
Yeah.
selfishness. You have to know when you can't help someone. And that's the
Yeah.
hardest part.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah. I think that being in that field, like you said, you have to have some type of compassion, some type of heart. I
Yes.
know first coming in, I know I can't save the world, but I can try to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Something I can do, something. Do you feel like, okay, I gotta ask you, do you feel like every person that has like a drug addiction or a mental illness, they attract to you? Like if you're out and about, does that happen to you?
It does. And I sit back And I just look like, and two, we have a bad habit of psychoanalyzing people when we don't need to do it. I
I,
do. It's a
yeah,
thing like, hey, like something. I, and it's
yeah,
like you want to help even when you off duty. It's like that's it. It comes to you, and it's like even in grocery stores, like you see little kids have a fit, and you see a mom not knowing how to really handle the kid, and from us reading and being taught in school books, and now we have that experience.
yeah,
How to calmly approach someone that's in distress and to calm that child down or help that mom. And it's like before I wouldn't be able to do it. Or, my guys, oh no, 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 that's none of your business, leave it alone. And it's like, when the situation is too escalated, I leave it alone. But before it gets to that point,
yeah,
I'm always like, can I help? Is it something I can do? This, that, and other. And you have to do that from your heart because you can't expect that back.
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you can't expect that back. Like I can be having a mental breakdown and this, that, and other. I don't expect for other people to help me because everybody is not blessed with that gift.
Right,
Help.
right. So
So it's
psychologists and therapists and counselors and mental health counselors, we're givers,
big givers.
givers.
Sometimes we give, and sometimes we give when we don't have
Yes,
any to give.
yes.
And talk about that a lot too in my groups. Like when I do the women's group there,
Okay.
and I tell them all the time, if we're depleted, how can we give? We're women. We're natural nurturers.
Absolutely.
This is what we do. So if we don't self care, and that's something that I'm really big on. If we don't take care of ourselves, we can't pour from a cup with hose. You got to fill yourself up first
Yes, absolutely.
until you're fixed, until you're mended. Now, I'm not saying you can't be broken and not be a good mom. You can do that. But
Mhm.
just imagine how your mom level will increase when you fix the damage within yourself.
Yep. On the inside, yeah.
And that's the thing. And I tell my clients all the time, this is new to me as well.
Hmm.
This is new to me. When I was going through my stuff, the first thing I did was grab the drink. And I'm not afraid to say it. That's
Yeah,
the first thing I did
yeah,
because it helped me. So I'm like, I can't, because when I wasn't drunk anymore, my problems were still there. Everything was
absolutely.
still there. So it's like now me taking care of myself and knowing who I am, loving myself first to even get to the level of allowing someone else to love me. I had to go through that pain of losing. I had to go. I had to go through that pain of being uncomfortable. And I tell my patients all the time, when you're uncomfortable, that means you're growing. Because when you're comfortable, you stagnant. You don't want to move. You don't want to
Right.
do anything. You sit there and you happy with what's going on, and then it's easy for you to point your fingers. And
Absolutely.
I tell them, I'm like, look, if you having the same issue, and I had to do this for myself, if I'm having the same issue with different people, who's the common denominator? I am.
Yeah, you are.
So I had to fix Erica, and it took a lot. It took a lot. It broke me down so where I lost a lot. I lost marriages. I lost
Yeah.
a
No,
lot.
I get it. I get it.
And when I had to be had to leave in order to get where I am now. And it's only a 4 year run for me. It's only been 4 years, so I can proudly say I love who I am.
Right.
Hard because it's the things that you go through as being growing up and things that you're faced with is hard because you start to eventually belittle yourself.
Yes.
I worked it, this happened to
Yeah.
me, so and I honestly felt that the time of my life when I was losing everything, even though I was so hurt, and I was like, okay, why me? Why me? Now, the position that I'm in now, I realize that God had to put me through those things so I can be a voice and to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, okay, why not me? I took it. I lived through it. I can do this, I can do that. I'm stronger. I'm able to love.
Yeah.
I could give love, but you couldn't. I didn't want to take it because it hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to hurt anymore.
Right.
So, like, I did that. So it was like me fixing myself, using techniques that I learned in the book. The degree is paid for. I might as well use it on myself.
Right. Exactly.
I had to help myself to get to this point and to really be able to say at this particular point in my life, I have never been this happy. I have never been so much at peace.
Right.
And then the crazy part about it, Shakir, this is just the beginning.
It is.
That's how I said it. I'm like, man, this is just the beginning.
Yep. That's
So
crazy.
it's
It's amazing. It's amazing and crazy at the same time. Okay. Yeah. So I want to ask, what's the intake process for, you have different for your clients?
intake process is, since we're a walk-in clinic,
Yeah.
we can only take a certain amount of clients a day. We don't do appointments. So we
Okay.
want to give everybody a chance to come in. So we have forms, of course, forms that you fill out. The whole intake process takes about 2 hours.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So we have to go through all the dimensions to make sure, if they have any medical issues, any other psychological issues that we have to deal with, their living situations, a lot of trauma, things like that. So the
Mm-hmm.
intake process can take up to 2 hours. So
Okay.
you come in, you sit with our intake specialist, which is maybe with Mr. Chester or Miss Alicia Gaddis or Steven. You come in, they take your picture, we go through the things because we work through NASA. So everything we do is through the state. We don't, if they don't have insurance, we sign them up for Medicaid.
Okay.
So we make, yeah, that's,
That's
and a lot
amazing.
of
Yes.
people
Yes.
are homeless, so they don't have health insurance, or they lost it. So we find out we don't have health, and you don't have health insurance through doing that intake process. We will sign you up for Medicaid. If you don't have an ID, we will give you the homeless letter and a notary as well. So
Okay.
once they go through the process of getting their homeless letter, I verify to have the patient and their social worker or therapist come in the office. I notarize it so we can get them an ID, because that's important. So once we go through the 6 dimensions and find out, what's the best group for you to go to, we assign them groups.
Mm-hmm.
We do have OP and IOP, which is outpatient and intensive outpatient. Most of them that comes off the street, they're already and they need IOP. So we
Right.
sign them up for IOP, and we just monitor it. We make sure,
Okay.
that they're in groups. We try to pick the best group to fit their needs and certain dimensions that we have. Give them a tour, introduce them to everybody, and it's from the beginning to the end of the patient's treatment, just to see the change is is amazing.
Okay.
It,
Yeah.
it's good. The skin changes, like the hair. You can see people hair growing back within 30 days.
Yeah.
Skin clears up. It's like they're just overall happy. And we have exercise groups there. We
Okay.
have yoga, acupuncture. We have like an REBT, overcoming procrastination, a lot of trauma groups, because that's big. We have a lot of trauma groups. Um, some religious groups, like we do self help groups, which is like
Okay.
AA. We do Smart Recovery, which is different from AA.
Okay.
AA is like, well, you stop, just don't do it anymore, just don't
Right.
drink. We
Right.
have Smart Recovery, which allows you to slow down at your own pace. It's harm reduction. And a lot of people are not familiar with harm reduction, but that's what we concentrate on too. And we do ask our clients, do you want to completely stop using drugs or do you want to slow down?
Mm-hmm.
We can't push you into doing anything because this is you. So we have a lot of clients that come in and it's like, well, I just want to stop smoking, go from smoking 5 blunts to a 1 blunt a day. We put that in their treatment plan.
Right.
So at the
Right.
end of the treatment plan, we know that we at least got you to that one, and it's up to you if you want to come back to say, you know what, I just want to be totally abstinent from smoking weed. We'll take you back.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
that's the whole process.
That's
2
what's
long
up.
hours.
Yeah, that's yeah, I want to say thank you for doing that. I mean, I already know it's a hard thing. I mean, we both in the same arena. I'm dealing with old psych patients, and we got young people as well. But um, yeah, I wanted to say thank you for all that you do. Sometimes we don't get that enough. So
I appreciate it, and you as well. Like, thank you. People just they don't understand. They don't.
yeah, that's why I created this platform so we can like lay it all out. Like, hey, we go through the ringer. We got our own stuff to to deal with, and we got to deal with somebody else's stuff on top of that. That's a lot. It's a lot, but we know how to handle it. We know how to handle it. It's just a balance. What was it? Friday, I had a behavior. I did. I had a behavior like I'm not doing this if I gotta call one more person again. Just dealing with that and dealing with COVID because it's still alive and well. It's just certain things that we have to endure. And I think that we're doing the best that we can with the things that we have. So we got God, we have our knowledge, common sense,
Sometimes it takes a lot. Like, it's so funny too because it's like, yeah, you book smart, you intelligent, but sometimes you're not as smart as you think.
No, and sometimes your clients make you feel like you like
You second guess yourself. It's like, did I do it?
yeah.
Question your person,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, like like I said before, like in my last videos, psych patients, they're the most smartest people in the world.
So smart, extremely smart. They know how to pick at you. And it's been one time that I lost my bananas. Like, when I tell you, I was not a professional at that time, and
Yeah.
I just had to think. I'm like, I allowed this client to take me off my square. The possibility of losing my job because of my behaviors, and it's like anybody else, like, if you can call me out of my name, you can call me a narcissistic B. And she consistently called me that. And I'm like, look, stop. You're not name calling. And she kept picking and picking and picking. And I had already had a rough day that day.
Yeah.
And I lost it. Like, my coworkers had to pull me from under my arms out. Had to pull me out of the office because that's how she was smart enough to get me to that point. And I had to think about it. I'm like, E, this is not you.
Right.
Not you anymore. Like, you have control of your attitude. So needless to say, after my outburst, my boss put me in group. So I'm sitting in group. I'm sending anger management with my clients. I'm sending REBT, you know, even though I'm certified to teach REBT, I'm in the
Yeah.
group with my courses because obviously I use my ABCs. You know, your behavior was very irrational, Erica, like you, and I allow her to take me off. And people don't understand, like a lot of these clients with mental health issues, they are some of the smartest people I have ever encountered.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like they talented. I hear like one client, he taught himself how to play the piano and he sings.
Okay.
And he's right next to my office. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I cannot wait until he comes in because his voice, it soothes me, it calms me. And I had to ask for permission to even record him. I'm like, can
Yeah.
I record you singing? And sometimes I just sit there and just watch him like play the piano.
Yeah.
And it's like, you taught yourself this. He writes his own music and everything. And I'm just like, you know, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
People understand, like they draw, they put the gardens together, they build things, they know how to fix things without
Yes.
going to school. And it's like, oh well, you know what, Miss Erica, I can fix it. I know how to fix it. And me being a person, okay, I'll give people chances. Okay, well, let me see. Like, oh my God, like
They
did you go
did
to
it.
school? No. It's like, no, you know, I just used to fix cars or fix this with my grandfather, and I know that this is similar to this, so I just, it's it's amazing.
Yeah.
It
It
is.
definitely is. Yeah. So we're here, and we're here to stay to help help people.
That's why I count my blessings. I look
Yeah.
at it all the time, and I'm like, you know what? This is what was meant for me, and this is something that I have always wanted to do. I have always wanted to be a psychologist, and certain things in life just pushed me. When I lost my daughter back in 2011, they sent me to a therapist. She had no kids.
Right.
So my thing is to say, how can you help me grieve the death of my daughter when you don't know what it's like to be a mom? You don't know what it's like to feel another body inside of you. Like you don't know that. So how can you teach me that?
Right.
So after that, they tried to put me on so many medications. Of course, I was depressed. I was suicidal. All of that. I didn't know what to do. I just lost my baby. Like, what did I
Right.
do wrong? So after I got overcame that, I'm like, I gotta help people. I have to be that voice that went through from experience and not only from the book, but living the experience to be able to help someone. And that's what I do a lot in my women's group because we have women who lost their children when they were on drugs and they had lost their babies or lost their babies to the system,
Yeah.
who lost their babies to the streets, lost their kids to the streets. So just to have that little, even though we all grieve differently, we all experience the loss of a child.
Yeah.
So just being that therapist in the room who had that experience, who had that experience of, you know, molestation and, being taken advantage of, things like that, that's a lot of trauma.
It is.
And sometimes I have to, listening to my clients, trigger certain things that happen to me. So I still have to remain calm and cool and push through it. And at the end of group, I have to find somewhere so I can pull myself together.
Yeah.
So it's like I said earlier, going through all of those things in life, it was a setup that, of course, I wasn't aware of, but it was a setup to get me to where I'm at now. And it's like, okay, it hurt going through that process.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a good feeling because I turned my pain around. I'm still dealing with some things. I turn my pain around to help others. And that's something that I would have never imagined myself doing, like using my pain to help other people.
Wow. Wow. I never heard it like that. That's why I'm like, girl, what you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes our experiences it has to help somebody else. They have to see it. Like, well, if I know if I got through it, then surely, you can get through this as well. Yeah,
hmm
yeah.
And
So
yeah, even like older women that go through it. This one lady told me, she was like, you got to be about 24, 25 years old. You can't tell me nothing. I'm like, well, ma'am, add about another 12 years on top of that 24, 25, and just give me a chance to help you. Let me share my story with you.
yeah,
And it's like, and once they get to know who you are, and a lot of times, there's like, oh, you can't disclose any information. I'm an open book with my clients.
yeah,
I have to teach. Like it's different when you're doing group therapy. They want someone that they can relate to.
absolutely.
So it's like I don't mind by disclosing my information, letting them know what I've been through, the things that I have done, the things that I felt ashamed of that I
Absolutely.
have. And it's like, well, I did this, I did that, nobody will love me. Okay, well, I did this, I did that, and I have somebody that loves me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have that now. And did I fight it? I fought this for almost 4 years. I fought this off. I fought this, because I didn't want to be hurt.
Yeah.
But like I tell them, I discovered that I deserve to be loved. And
Absolutely.
only I can open myself up to be loved. Only I can allow somebody to love me. So that's what and just going through that of not feeling like you're worth anything.
Right.
You know,
Right.
just going through that. Because when I was going, I'm like, man, like why is this man treating me like this? Why is this? Why is that? This, that, and other. I didn't think that I was going to be able to use that as a platform to help other people. Like, you know what? You worth it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think that, being transparent with your clients, you have your boundaries,
exactly.
you have your boundaries, but you also have to be open and honest with them. Like you say, you're open book. But I think that you are honest and they can feel like, man, they can feel your pain, like as far as like what you went through and the different steps that you have to go through to get where you are now. I just think that I have done that before. Well, I'm doing it now. My transparent moments with some of my clients, um, it makes them feel better. Like, dang, you understand me. You really get me. And I think that's what a lot of people they want you to listen to them
Exactly.
and hear what they're saying. Because if we doing a lot of talking, we're not listening. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what I do. I listen. It was like, well, what do you think? I was like, oh, I didn't know if you wanted the opinion or not. I just want to listen because then I can identify what is the need. What is it that you need to dissect, and what is it that you need to work on? And I think that's what everybody, just whether it's our clients, it's just people in general. I found myself, like you said, in the grocery store where I was like, hey, how you doing today? Just one question opens up like
Oh my God.
20 minutes of how they feel. And I'm just like, I just asked you, okay?
And they go, it's like they know. It's like they know and just sit there. Like my kids, they will not come to the grocery store with me because I speak to everybody. Say,
Right.
hey, how you doing? This, that, and
Yeah.
the other. Sometimes people just like, strangers say, well, this happened to me today, and I listen because obviously it was bothering you that much. If I can look, if I need to be that trash can that you need to dump all this stuff in to get this off to make sure you're mentally stable and you're mentally
Yeah.
okay, take that because
Yeah.
I'm strong enough to take it to
Hmm.
help you with it and disregard your trash somewhere else that you done dumped on me and just burn it and leave it alone.
Yeah.
And like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. My dog, he barking in the background. Teddy, come here. He acting a fool. The the guard dog, and I was like, no, Teddy, you're not the guard dog at all. I don't know if it's still on live. Uh-oh. Is it connection? Oh, wait. Uh-oh. Oh, continue. I don't know it. I don't know what happened. So let me try to get Erica back on this live. I don't know what happened. Yeah, again. Teddy, my dog, everybody, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
me, they just stopped, just froze. I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's just been a joy to have you on. I really, really appreciate it. So we're gonna like leave in the comment section, like after this live is over with, like your information as far as the center, um, everything that you, well, yeah, the center, the address and things like that, so you can get some help, to the people that's out there. And that's what we do. We help people.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, the website, just in case if anyone is taking it down, is anb.today. The name of the clinic is Above and Beyond Family Recovery Center. It's on the west side of Chicago.
cool, 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 cool. I really, really appreciate you getting on and allowing me to like pick at you a little bit. Is really, really appreciated. I was just gonna open it up to like any questions that some of the people have.
Okay.
If anybody on here, if you have any questions for Miss Erica, I'm just gonna wait for that. Yeah, a little bit. Mm. But yeah, it's just been a joy. Like I was telling, like earlier, like I was like, I didn't want to do it at first, but God was like, no, do it, so everybody can be able to see the different levels, different people, not just me saying it, but for other people to say it, to express themselves and to, see what's going on and see what's what.
Yeah, because a lot
So
of people, you just sit down and you talk to people all day. I'm like, no, you just don't understand like the toll that it has on you mentally and spiritually. It takes a toll on you. And it's, you know, sometimes you see yourself flipping out over some things. You exhibiting behaviors that you have to sit back. It's like, you know what, that's not like me. Like what did I endure? What did I go through this day to make
yeah,
me feel this way? So
yeah.
you have to constantly check yourself.
Self-evaluation. I've been saying it. I've been saying it for the longest. Self-evaluation. We have to evaluate ourselves like daily.
You do every day,
Yeah.
and you have to have the most realist, honest people in your corner to let you know, is you getting a little bit too out of hand. Like you need to get it in order. Like I have one friend, she like I talk to her about everything. She is like my diary. I can call her or text her, like Kiki, this
Yeah.
happened. And, from her being a friend and her knowing me for so long, she tells me if you're wrong
Yeah.
or this, or when I get too out of hand, she's like, okay, you know what, I'm about to punch you, get it together. And that's exactly, that's what I need, that friend that's going to that's going to direct you And I still have all my, a lot of my friends from high school that I still talk to and communicate, so I can, I send out a group text, or sometimes we get on Zoom. We had a Zoom meeting one day because it was just like, hey, we need to catch up to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And us to get pulled back and to feel comfortable, from being a psychologist, it's like sometimes you feel as though that they can't help you the way that you want to be helped, but at the same time, they know you, so they also know what you need to
Yeah.
put back on track. And I'm just grateful and really thankful for all of my friends that's been there, saw me fall, helped me put pieces back together, helped me do this, and it's amazing. So you need those people in your corner that's gonna put you back in line, like snap you back real fast, because I can get beside myself sometimes.
Don't we all? Yeah, it's definitely that. Yeah, it's definitely that. It's just like the accountability. You know what I mean? They're accountable for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Erica, what's the matter?
Like,
Yes.
something's not right. You okay, or you just been real quiet. What's wrong? And a lot of like parts of my life, I'm very, very private.
Right.
And those people who do know, it's like, well, you know what's wrong. So I can talk to them about, relationship problems, relationship issues, like the real deep ones, not just, a conversation that we have, oh, this, that, and the other, like regular, girl conversation that we can generally have. But, when I've done something wrong in my relationship, or if I feel as though he did something wrong, I can go back and I can talk, like help me help myself with this. And sometimes at the end of the day, we just, me and you, we gotta talk about it, and that was a
My sister said snapback. Right, Kenya, snapback. Yeah.
That's important, because I'm always, you gotta communicate with me, communicate. But I'll be the first person to shut down and don't say anything. They be like, you need to communicate. I don't want to communicate. Like, I'm sitting with the kid with the ear, like, I don't want to communicate. Like, no. So it's like, I have to pull myself. I have to pull myself back in. If you don't have those that really love and care for you to help you bring it back in, you will lose every little marble you have. You will lose it. So it's a must to have those strong people behind you when you're in this line of work, because it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is. It's like when I first got into this arena of mental health, I used to go in there in the house, and I used to like sit in the dark for a little bit. I had to sit in the dark because I didn't know what I was going to encounter. I didn't know, like, I had to listen to people, being molested or being raped, or, just different traumas. Like, I wasn't prepared for that, because I'm looking at the book like,
they didn't put chapters in, like,
what am I doing here? Or just different things, like, somebody killing the cousin. I'm just like, what we doing? I had to sit by myself for like a year. I had to sit in the dark.
Yeah,
and everybody thought something was wrong.
Back and forth, like, oh my God, you sitting in the office with somebody that they killed somebody, and you like, oh my God, like what?
Right. And then it's like, okay, so what is their trigger? So you try to be very cautious of what you say and how you say it, and it brings like, ooh, okay, I'm not gonna talk about their mother, if somebody, because I had one client like, I don't like my mother, blank, 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 blank. And I was just like, okay. And I'm right down like,
I have to talk about your mom.
Right. Or they have like triggers as far as they don't like a certain color.
Yeah.
So,
People, that's when it starts to get deep. It gets like real deep, and it's like, sorry, especially the color red. And a lot of people don't understand. Like the color red is a huge trigger for a lot of people. The color blue is a huge trigger for a lot of people. And it's like, well, in child psychology, when you growing up, they want you to introduce your child to like the reds and the blacks and whites because it helps it stimulates their brain. So
absolutely.
as an older adult, that red color can overstimulate the brain to, they can attack you. They can see the color red, like I know red fingernails, like even times to where I do wear a red shirt or something like that to work. I always wear a jacket or a sweater over it because I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
just don't know.
I just don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask, on the average, how many people do you have come in on a daily basis?
Before COVID, we had an average of, I want to say, 80 to 100 people a day.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So now we're at an average, and we're at least half now.
Okay.
So we're
Okay.
seeing a lot of clients come back. They come in. Like I said, I think Friday was like one of our biggest days that we had, especially
Okay.
for our group. Like I always average out between 16 to 18 patients in my
Okay.
group. Friday it was 30, and that was just the Women's for Sobriety group. That
Okay.
wasn't other groups that, like, we had Men for Sobriety. We had so many other groups going on at that time with just 30 women, just women
Right.
in that group. And mind you, we had other groups that were going on that had women in them as well. But 30 women in one group. And it was a blessing because we talked about forgiveness.
Okay.
So just having the 30 women there, and we're talking about forgiveness and the steps of forgiveness and using biblical terms like, you know, Jesus says you got to forgive somebody 7 times 70 for that one act that they did to you. Now this person
Mm-hmm.
have done multiple things to you, and according to the Bible, you have to forgive them 7 times 70 for that, for each occurrence from this
Yeah.
one person. And I'm like, that just goes to show you how big forgiveness is. When you
Mm-hmm.
forgive someone, you're gaining power, you're gaining control over who you are. Because when
Right.
you go into, when you're not forgiving, it bans that moment of someone hurting you, and you're not able to, not saying it is because it's not easy, especially when someone has violated you as far as like rape, molestation, or anything like that. It's hard to forgive, but that moment control sets the pace for your entire life.
Absolutely.
You start forgiving and live learning how to live with what happened, and know that you didn't have control over what happened to you. You need to gain that control back, because then you will start setting more positive steps to your future, to being who you
Absolutely.
are. And that's what I explained that to them. Like, don't be ashamed of the things that happened to you. You have no
Yeah.
control over that. The main purpose is that as your facilitator, I want you to learn the steps of forgiveness so you can regain your power back. And once you regain your power back, you get a bigger perspective on your purpose and your meaning in life. And we go through a lot of logotherapy, by Viktor Frankl. Like, you have to, when you get that purpose and your meaning in life, that's your drive and your push for you to
Yeah.
do it, because you know that I'm here for a reason. Everything bad that happens to me, that was just a stepping stone to, as I look at it, to make me better.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
now that hurt me, that's my footstool to make me better. To keep
Absolutely.
pushing me up to do what I need to do to gain more control and power over my situation so I can be happier. And so that's what's just like those, it was just crazy. 30 women in for forgiveness, and everybody knows a woman, we can hold some grudges.
Hold it for dear life.
Man, we would die with it. But
Yeah.
just imagine when you just start, I told myself I had to start letting little bitty pieces go. And when I
Yeah.
started to let it go, it gave me the power and the drive to do better
Yeah.
and just keep
Absolutely.
pushing, regardless of how much it hurt. I just kept going. And I tell a lot of the women, it's like, imagine the worst thing you've been through. If you overcame that, you can overcome anything. And I tell them, like, the worst pain that I went through is the death of my daughter. The loudest noise I heard is when they gently dropped her casket. It was no bigger than the size of a shoebox in the ground. That was the loudest noise to me. For years, I had nightmares of that noise. So when I came to the conclusion, I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything I was supposed to do. But as being a mom, I kept that because I thought, oh, my body didn't do this, my body didn't do that. This is why I lost my child. If it wasn't for my body not being able to, carry babies the way that it should be able to, she wouldn't have died, she wouldn't have do this. But God blessed me with another baby.
Yeah.
Granted, Amira would never take the place of Sanaya. But it's just a blessing that God allowed, with help,
Yeah.
allowed the body to get to this point to produce a healthy
Yeah.
child. I would rather bring home a premature baby at 36
Yeah.
weeks than bring home a box.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, I go through that, and I'm like, I had to forgive myself. Even though I felt as though I didn't do anything wrong, I had to forgive me for thinking that
Yeah.
foul of myself to
Yeah.
even move on. And it's
Yeah.
like they didn't really realize how important forgiveness is. And like it's like it was again, it's just a blessing to have those many women in group when we're talking about forgiveness, because I don't want you to remain a prisoner of
Yeah.
yourself.
Let me tell you, you can and you will if you don't set yourself free. You can. You really, really can. I think and we beat ourselves up for that too. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I allowed this to happen. I allowed it. Okay, we allowed it to happen. How can we go forward from here?
What
And I
are we?
think that's what happened with me. Just dealing with relationships, and I kind of beat myself up. Where like I felt like I wasn't good enough. You know, I'm being transparent now. Like back then, I'd be like, no, denial, all denial. Like you can tell me, but at the same time, I felt like I wasn't good enough. After experiencing that, um, I had low self-esteem. People, you wouldn't even know it.
People
You
don't
know,
know that. They don't, because we carry ourselves a certain way, but we're so broken down in the inside. You don't see that because we know how to mask it. We know how to mask it.
yes,
You can
yeah,
walk around with the most confident women in the world and still have like this trash self-esteem. And we
yeah,
always will find something. And that's
yeah.
that's another topic.
Yeah. Yeah, but I had to forgive myself, you know what I'm saying? And forgive myself for allowing another person to take me out of my element. I know who I am, but people make like we said, some people that's insecure about themselves, they make you feel like something wrong with you when it's really, really not. It's really, really nothing wrong with you. Um, um, but you sharing that and being transparent and being honest about it, you know what I mean? That's like, Yes, and people need to hear that, because everybody act like everybody is like all this glitter and glamour, like nothing happens to them. Nobody goes through these things, and it's sad because we want to paint this picture for other people, and they're the ones that's angry and broken and toe up from the floor up, and hate is a strong word. I dislike their behavior. I dislike that image that they try to portray, and it's nothing like what they see. It's a bad taste, and it's making other people think like it's okay to have this image when you already broken on the inside. So yeah.
And the thing is that a lot of women may feel as though it's just them who feels that way because they don't open up and talk about it. They don't open up, they don't talk about it. And my thing is that you have to. If you don't recognize that you have a problem, it's nothing we can do. You can't help yourself if you don't think that. I knew my self-esteem was the issue when I found myself trying to live a life that just wasn't for me. I tried to, go after things that just wasn't for me. And I found myself belittling other people because they didn't have what I had to make me feel better. And the whole thing is that hurt people, and I tell people that all the time. When you hurt, you're bound. You're gonna hurt somebody else because you want to feel bigger than what you are, because you feel so small on the inside. So it's like when I had that humbling experience of losing things when I left my last marriage. I left with nothing. Just me and my kids at my mom's house. And my mom, it wasn't big enough. I slept on the floor. I tell people all the time, I finished my master's degree on an air mattress with a hole in it. So when I woke up the next morning, me and my baby was on the floor, but I finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, I had to lose everything. I went from being able to drive whatever type of car I wanted, to go into any store I wanted, to get this or spend this much money on a purse. That was nothing. But I had to lose all that. And the thing is that all that money, the shoes and bags that I had, when I left, I drive down the street and I see his girlfriend with my purse. I'm like, I see the woman, the woman that I felt that tore my marriage down, she got, look, baby, and you can have that.
Yes.
I'm like, and so it's like during that time, I went, and I'm being transparent again. I went from having to go to get used cars and sending the bill of sale something over to a bankruptcy lawyer to approve for me to get a car with a 19.99% interest rate.
Wow.
I went from being that person to now being able to go to any car lot and tell them what I want, how I want it, and what I'm going to pay for it.
Right.
I went from sleeping on the floor to, having a house that I have a room that I don't even use. I have things that I don't even use, and that's because I had to humble myself.
Yeah.
I really did. I really had to humble myself. And it's like the people that I went through with it, I see them getting blessed too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a group effort. And my biggest thing that we say around my house is, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Okay.
And that thing is that when God gives you the little that you have and you faithful over it, He's going to increase you. He's going to continue to increase you. So the more and more He continues to increase, other people is going to look. So everything is going to get heavy.
Yeah.
Like the king crown is heavy because he has so much that he has to delegate and take care of. But God is still gonna bless you through it, and that's how I feel right now. It's like if I see someone who kids doesn't have shoes or something like that, I can I don't feel bad, or I don't feel stretched to go out and get a pair of shoes for your kid. And sometimes I found myself taking out of my house to give to others because I know that I can be replenished to give back. I know my
Yeah.
house doesn't have a need or a want for anything, and at times it did get a little bit out of control. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I done did this, I done did that, but I don't have this. So it's
Yeah.
it's been times where I have to like scratch, like, okay, slow down. You still got to make sure your house is taken care of. But
Yeah.
it's like it's it's a good feeling to know that where I came from just 4 years ago when I lost everything. My sons and me, we went to high school. Everybody knew about how I felt about Michael Cooper when I was dating in high school. Everybody knew Big Mike. So it's like we got married, and we remained friends to the day that
Yeah.
he.
Yeah.
And that to me was the ultimate heartbreak. And
Yeah.
I don't talk about that a lot, but I had to within this last, I want to say 6 months. I had to help myself out with that because I'm like, this man that I've been friends with since I was 11, first at everything. Like, we got my son together, we have everything. And
Yeah.
even though we wasn't together, that was still my protector. He's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, even when he passed, I'm angry. I'm in a hospital, like laying on him, crying like you not supposed to. I was so selfish. You not supposed to
Yeah.
leave me. You promised you won't leave me. How am I supposed to do this? What am I supposed to do? How I was lost. I felt lost. And at that time I was going through a divorce, and he had told me, my second husband told me, because I'm not afraid of my marriages either.
Girl, me either.
So
Yeah.
that's the one thing he told me, and he was like, as long as Michael was here, you will never allow yourself to love another man.
Mm.
And that hit hard because it was the truth, and it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like I said, I've been, in and out my prior relationships for 4 years. Like, I would take off as soon as I feel as though this man is loving me a little bit. I will run, Shakira. I will take off running. I will do whatever I have to do to make sure that to get him not to like me, to get him
Yeah.
to despise me. I did all of that because I was afraid. And the thing is that it's like I had to give that up. That was that was a part of Erica that I had to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I would never know what it's like to be loved again. And so it's
Right.
like, okay, so that I had to face a lot of my insecurities. I had to do like, oh man, he get this, women may do this. So it's like, I'm not the type of person that that this, that, and like I beat myself up with that. Like, I was so insecure with everything, and I'm like, okay, like regardless of what I have done, what I have said, this man he's still here. So either
Yeah.
you need to get it together, or it's gonna be gone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, I will fly off the hedges. I would go like pretty crazy. You ain't coming back to 5 minutes. I ain't talking to you no more. It's over. Like, I would just do like the dumbest stuff. And it's like until I realized that I deserve to be loved again, wholeheartedly,
Yeah.
you know, it works out. It
Yeah.
nothing was going to change until I decided to change.
Absolutely.
That was the hardest part.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
That
Yeah.
was, like I said, that was the hardest part. So it's like you dealing with this, you're dealing with that. You got to go to work, and you get clients that you got to deal with. You know, you got their stuff, you got your own stuff. You know, this going on over there. You got family issues. This going on. You know, that. And I'm like, you know, sometimes you do. You want to sit in the corner and suck your thumb and cry.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I'm trying to tell the people, yeah, just too much.
You just
Too much.
sit back and rock. And it's been times to where I sat in my garage, in my car, and just sat there.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I refuse to bring it home. I refuse to bring it in my door.
Yeah.
So I just,
Absolutely.
but as I say, heavy is the head to wear the crown, baby. This is what we signed up for.
Yes, we did. We did. We did. But we're gonna dance through the rain. So we're gonna endure it to the end until we were like, okay, no more.
Nope.
But we just it just comes with the territory of, loving people. And I think more and more the older I get, and being in this field, healthcare field, I love on people a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know where they come from. I don't care if they purple, brown, pink, white, black. It doesn't matter. Like, I love on everybody, because like, it kind of like it helps me, because it's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing something. Hey, come here. I'm just that type of person anyway. So like, I don't want to leave nobody unnoticed. You know what I mean? Because I have a love for people, and I think that's, we both share the same thing. We got a love for people and a love for what we do. So this is a great
Everybody,
thing.
regardless of how we feel or what we're going through, we're
Hmm.
like, I gotta help this person. I gotta do this. I have to do this. I have to do that. And we put ourselves on the back burner. And so that's when I started to learn, like, self care is, you gotta do it. Like,
Yes.
you
Yes.
have to take care of yourself first. So
Absolutely.
yeah, like strangers, like, oh, how you doing? Oh, well, this, and you sit there and it's like, man, like this person really had a bad day. Like, don't
Yeah.
know you.
Yeah.
Don't know
Yep.
you at all.
Like I told you in the grocery store, that happens. So, we just take it in stride. Yeah. But I want to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We don't have any questions. We just been talking and, sharing, having our transparent moments. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for coming on and saying yes. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say, but thank you. Thank you for saying yes to, coming on and be a part of this, this forum, this kind of like this safe spot for, mental health workers, social workers, counselors, therapists, things like that, psychologists, things like that. But I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And all the people that are on here, we want to thank you.
Welcome anytime. I'm here for empowerment anytime you need me.
All righty then. Well, this concludes Social Work Sunday Tea. Thank you so much for tuning in, and love you guys. Talk to you next Sunday. We have another guest, so I hope everybody tune on. We have another guest on Sunday.
All righty. Thank
All
you.
righty then. All right.
Bye.
Bye.